Hi guys, welcome back to More Basics. My name is Ashley, and in today's video, I am just going to talk to you about getting married. Yeah, I got married, and it's actually been just a little over a year. And the last videos that I made was about being content being single, so I just want to kind of bring you guys up to date. I am recovering from COVID, so I'm sitting here with a blanket over top of me, and I'm still like congested, no smell, no taste. But yeah, nobody wants to talk about that or hear about that. We're all just so over COVID. But yeah, so the way that I met my now husband is I was working at an eye doctor's office, and he came in and he was actually 15 minutes late, and I was kind of frustrated because it messes up our flow. Usually when somebody is like 10 or 15 minutes late, we have to reschedule, and we were really busy in that office. So I went up and I got his glasses to go and read them before I took him back to try to save on time. And then I got him back, and somebody had messed up on the paperwork in the system, and they listed his birthday, which would have made him 60 something years old. I don't remember exactly what the date was, but I kept looking at him. I was like, this guy is not 60 something years old. And he had just gotten off from work, and he was a logger at the time. And so he had his clothes on that were dirty, and he was dirty. Um, yeah, he was so dirty in his clothes. I had no idea what he even did, but knew it had to be some sort of hard work outside. Well, I went through the eye exam, and the only thing I remember about him is every time that I asked him a question, he seemed to drag it out and take forever and give like an elaborate answer. And remember, I'm on a time crunch here. I'm trying to hurry up and get him ready for the doctor so the doctors can stay on track with their time. But I kind of looked at him at the end and I said, you're not 60 something years old, right? When were you born? And yeah, so it turns out he was 37, and the date of birth was just messed up, and he kind of looked at me weird when I said that, and I don't know. But anyways, then after that, it was time to go to lunch, and this girl that I work with, she said, "Well, what about him? What if we exchange numbers with him for me?" Because I was always the person that I was not interested in going on dates. I had went on some dates, it didn't go good, and I had just made up my mind that I was going to be content and happy being single for the rest of my life, and I just wasn't interested in that. I kind of thought that God had somebody for me, and I would pray for that person, occasionally, God, wherever that person's at, just I hope that they have a good day, and whatever they're struggling with, I hope they turn to you and you comfort them and love them. And I would just say random prayers for that person. So I was kind of hopeful and thought that God had somebody for me, but at the same time, I wasn't completely sure. And I was making up my mind that I was just, yeah, never gonna entertain the idea that marriage was even for me, and I was just gonna move on and be happy in my life. And I was like, going back to Nikki, I was like, no, that's embarrassing, don't do that. But he had a wallet that had a cross on it. And so that was one thing that I noticed and thought, okay, well, maybe he's a Christian because, that's the only thing that I was interested in was a Christian man. So I go on to lunch, and this girl is helping him with his glasses. And turns out he was really overwhelmed because he was stressed out trying to pick out the right glasses. And then she lays this on him. She's like, your wallet. She said, it has a cross on it. So does that mean you're a Christian? And he said, yes. And he said, well, she said, well, what about the girl that took you back? What do you think of her? And he honestly didn't think much of me apparently, or he never told me if he did, but he said the only thing that he can remember is walking down the hallway, and he said he never looked at my butt, but he noticed that I had pretty hair. And God's timing is just crazy because I had decided that I was going to grow my hair out because I'm not crazy about long hair. I love short, shoulder length hair. I love shorter hair. But I decided that I was going to grow my hair out for one more time in my life because if I ever cut it short again, I'd never grow it back out. And of course, my now husband, he loves long hair, especially, on me and stuff. So I could tell you so many little details and stuff just about how you know that it was God. Well, anyway, she gave him my number, and then later that evening, her and I went to another town, and we had went to Hobby Lobby, and we were eating at a Chinese restaurant, and he called, and she took a picture of me sitting at the table talking to him on the phone, and we talked the whole way back. I was so rude, but we talked the whole way back, and then we just talked for hours after that. And we continued to keep talking on the phone and keep staying in touch. And the conversations in the beginning, they were clashing. He had this attitude of, he was destined to stay single the rest of his life, and kind of had his regards. And um yeah, just he wasn't 100% sold or for it, and neither was I. So I mean, they were kind of clashing. So who would ever thought that anything would have become of that? um yeah. But it just happened. Sometimes we talk about that. It's like, it wasn't forced, and it just happened the way that it played out. And so the ring, I picked out my ring. I am not a gaudy, like flashy person, and so the thought of having a big gaudy ring just kind of like embarrasses me. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I'm a very basic, very simple person. It doesn't take much to make me happy. And so I wanted a solitaire ring. I guess that's how you say that, with a traditional style, just with the diamond on the top. I didn't want a whole bunch of extra diamonds on there and bling and flashy stuff. And I did like rose gold. He was kind of opposed to rose gold just because if you do your research, I guess that it like scuffs or fades a little bit. But I wanted rose gold, and I wanted a single diamond. And let's see if I can figure out where to put the ring. But yeah, here is what my ring looks like. And then my band is just a simple band, but this is exactly what I wanted. So he asked me, do you want a bigger diamond that maybe isn't real, or maybe isn't like as nice of a cut? Because apparently, like, the nicer the diamond, um it depends on the way that it's cut. I knew nothing about any of this because I never really put that much thought into what kind of ring that I would even want. But I went with the ring that was the nicer diamond, the nicer cut, but the smaller. Because apparently you can get bigger diamonds, but they're not as good a quality. And sometimes they're not even real. So I definitely wanted the real, more simple, basic ring. And I love my ring. Love, love, love my ring. It's very much me. And then how we got married. So we were in the pandemic. This was in 2020. We were in the pandemic and just thinking about, okay, well, maybe we could have a small get together, kind of looking at venues, but we just knew that, we wanted to get married and get married soon. It wasn't the traditional dating because you can't go out and go to the movies. We've actually never been to the movies together, ever. And you couldn't go out to eat, so we were hanging out at my apartment, or I would go up to the mountains and see him, once or twice a week. And we just knew that we wanted to be together. And so we finally made the decision that we wanted things to be right with God. I mean, because that's really hard, because when you are in your 30s and dating, it's much different than when you are in your early 20s or your teens and you're living at home, because you don't have mom and dad to supervise you. I mean, you have your church family to hold you accountable, the Lord willing. And that is one of the things that I asked for prayer. I was like, in my Sunday school class, and the ladies in my Sunday school class are older, and they really shocked me with their response and their love. And just for me even asking, hey, listen, we want to honor God with our relationship, and we're trying to abstain from sexual relations before marriage. And it makes it much harder when you don't have somebody like your parents watching over you, and you can make these decisions and do what you want. But we knew that we wanted to be together and we wanted to honor God. And so we ended up going to the courthouse and getting married. And David, that's his name. His first name is Arthur, but he goes by David. And he was so afraid that I was going to regret not having a wedding and, having all the proper stuff that brides have. But I will tell you, I don't regret that at all. I don't regret it at all. I do have a dress. I tried on tons of dresses on Amazon. And I think in the next video, I'm gonna try that dress on for you guys. It's gonna be fun for me because it's been a while since I tried that dress on, but I'll kind of show you what it looks like. But yeah, so it's been over a year that we've been married. We've had some arguments, we've had some ups and downs. When things are good, it's really good. And then, we have had some pretty intense disagreements up until this point, but we just continue to grow, and we know that it is God that brought us together. He is a manly man. I actually made a list of things that I was looking for in a partner, and I think it would be fun to do a video and read that list to you, because I made this list way before I knew him. And then, kind of check off the list to see how many of those things that he fits in. But yeah, I just want to tell you that I was working, not twerking. And yeah, it's just God's timing. It's just God's timing. And if you'll just draw close to Him and let God be enough and just to fill you up, then He knows the desires of your heart. I mean, God gave you the desires of your heart. And if you're desiring to have a husband, then God knows that. And, He tells us that if we delight ourselves in Him, He'll give us those desires. But it's all in His timing. So just keep seeking Him. Yeah, and let Him fill you up, and be patient while you're waiting on God to bring you that special person. But yeah, that's basically all that I wanted to share with you guys today. I hope that you are still fighting the good fight of faith, and I will see you guys in the very next video. Bye.